Okay.
Hello, my name is Gabrielle Matthews and I am a senior at North Mecklenburg High School. I'm happy to be able to present to you all for your International Week. I'm making an Italian pizza for you all today, and so I'll go ahead and get started with it. So the first thing you want to do is preheat your oven to 425, and we've got that going already. And next, you want to combine 1 cup of flour, your yeast, sugar, and your salt. So mix it all together. So next you're going to want to add some very warm water. It's going to be in the temperatures of 120 to 130. And if your parents have a thermometer, they can measure the temperature before giving it to you. So just add the water. And then add some oil. And then we'll stir it together. So the result should be very, very thick and very gooey. So next we're just going to slowly add some flour to the mixture until it forms a sticky, but not like it'll stick to your hands, but it will still be soft dough. So we'll just add a little at a time, and then whenever it gets to that consistency, you'll stop.
So Gabby, so you said you're a senior here at North Meck High School.
Yes.
How did you decide to be in the culinary arts program at North Meck?
So as a child, I've always loved to cook and to bake. And when I was in middle school, I heard about North Meck and how they had a culinary program. And I applied to their lottery, got in, and started culinary classes when I came to North Meck.
Wow. So you were able to, where did you go to middle school at?
I went to Piedmont IB Middle School. They're similar to JMA if you know where that is. And I went there and then I applied to the lottery afterwards.
Nice. So you applied to the lottery to be able to be a student in the magnet program at North Meck?
Yes.
Nice. And so now that you've done this for, this is your 3rd or 4th year?
Yes, it's my 3rd year in culinary.
Wow. So what were some of the most important things you learned when you first started in the commercial kitchen here at North Meck?
So some of the most important things I learned were, 1, to have everything that you need for when you cook set out, and then also to clean your area after you do anything. And also to always have clean hands, clean clothes, and refrain from touching your hair or your face or anything like that.
Good.
So you'll see here that I am touching the dough, but it's not sticking to my hands, but it's still soft and I can push holes into it. So that's when we know that we have enough flour in it. So the next thing that we're going to do is on a clean surface, we're going to sprinkle a little bit of flour onto the surface. So this could be a table, a counter, you can even use a cooking board if you don't want to get your table messy. And you'll just pour your dough onto it, and you're going to knead. So you're going to cover your hands with flour, and when you knead dough, you basically pull it up and push it down with your hands. And roll it kind of like in a circle. Don't push the same spot, just move different parts, and just push it down lightly. You don't want to like hit it with your hand, it's just something soft. So we're going to do this for like 4 minutes just to get the yeast working. If you notice that the dough is sticking to your hands or to the table, just add more flour.
So Gabby, you're a senior?
Yes, I am.
So what are you gonna do next?
My plan is to go to culinary school, and they have a lot of different culinary schools out there. They have some easy culinary schools like CPCC, and then they have some professional, high class basically, culinary schools like Johnson and Wells and the Culinary Institute of America. So I applied to all of those, and I'm going to go to one of them.
Good. So you still have a couple more months to pick one, right?
Yes, I don't have to pick until later in the year.
Good. What's your admiration? What's your dream job as a professional chef?
My dream job would to be to open my own bakery and come up with a unique idea that sells a lot of foods.
Nice.
So I think our dough is pretty much ready here. And so since we use something called instant yeast, we have to let the dough sit and rise. It'll get bigger with more air for about 10 minutes.
Good.
So as you can see, our dough has doubled in size, so I am back to continue with the pizza. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to make the sauce. And for the sauce, you can add whatever seasonings you personally like to the sauce for your own taste, but I'm just going to add some oil, and then some salt and sugar, and then some pepper, and a little bit of Italian seasoning. And we'll just mix it all together. So we actually used a sauce base for this. So we're just adding basically our own taste to it, depending on like what your personal tastes are. So next, we will start with the dough. As you can see, it will be very airy and almost have like a nice little cover over the top of it. So I oiled the pan that I'm going to be cooking my pizza on, and I'm just going to place pizza dough in the middle. And I'm just going to spread it out to line the sides all the way through the pan. And you want to kind of get it even so that it won't cook with some parts being raw and some parts being finished. I think it's pretty even. It should be good. And if you want to add like a crust to it, you can pinch and fold it to make a crust. So the main thing about pizza is that you make it the way you want to eat it. So if you want a lot of cheese, you can put a lot of cheese. If you want pepperoni, you can put pepperoni. If you want more or less of something, you can add more or less, because everything can be made for your taste. So then next, I'm going to add a little bit of oil to the top so that it can bake with that golden color. So just a little bit on top, especially on the edges where the crust will be. Then you can spread the sauce in the middle of the dough. And you can add as much or as little as you like. Now, once you have the amount of sauce that you want on it, this recipe states that you should bake it for about 4 minutes just to get the dough starting to rise. And then when you take it out of the oven, you can start adding your toppings.
Go.
So it's been 4 minutes and our pizza is ready. Some important things to remember when you're putting the pizza in the oven is that you want to set a timer for 4 minutes so that you don't forget that it's in the oven. And while you're waiting for it to cook, don't constantly open up the oven because then you'll let out the heat. And third thing is when you take it out of the oven, make sure you use something like this to keep your hands from getting burnt. So now that our pizza has been cooked, we will add the toppings. So here we have some mozzarella cheese and some pepperoni. So we're just going to add some to the pizza to our taste. I add some pepperoni. And if you have any other toppings you'd like to add, you can add it to the pizza. So I've added all of the toppings that I want. If you want to add some Italian seasoning or more cheese, you can as well. So I like to just sprinkle a little cheese on top and then add Italian seasoning. So now that we've added all the toppings, according to the recipe, it states to bake it for 6 to 7 minutes more. And that time might actually vary depending on how thick you make your crust. So if you notice that it's not done, you can put it in for an extra 2 or 3 minutes. So our pizzas have come out of the oven and they're now ready to be eaten. Make sure to cool your pizzas for about 2 minutes before you eat it so that you don't burn any fingers or mouth.
Yeah, right there.
So here is our finished product. And if you also notice that we made a caramelized onion and goat cheese pizza. So that's just to show that you can make this pizza in many different forms, add any toppings you like or any sauces, and make it your own.